Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning ladies and gentlemen. My name is Arizal Akbar and in this video is for the purpose of fulfilling professional speaking course final project. In this video I'm gonna talk about the future of remote work. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start with my insights about what is the future of remote work and my statement and my take to it, let me ask you a question. What are crossing into your minds when you heard about remote work? Some may perhaps they think about people in their pajamas, online meetings in front of a computer, and working flexibly, especially one from home. Well, yes, that is actually the common ideas when people being asked about remote work. But in this video, I'm gonna tell you about that it is more than just that, more than just the earliest, simplest, basic ideas that we could think of, because remote work is a significant way of us to approach working. It giving us some kind of options, the way that we can work from anywhere and work flexibly. And I'm gonna tell you with a statement that it is gonna be stay here with us. It's gonna be still exist even in the future. And I'm gonna tell you three insights of why I say that. And let's start with the first one. Remote work is here to stay with us. Let's just stay with the fact that remote work isn't some kind of a trend that suddenly disappeared because the trend era is ended. No, it is never like that. In fact, during the pandemic, the amount of remote workers in the US is increasing tremendously. I mean, like a very, very huge number. On average of 6%, it increasing almost nearly 50% remote workers in the US. That is a huge amount of numbers if you ask me. So even now, there's still 28% of a full-time employees that's still working remotely. Why they still doing that? Well, because based on the data from the Atlanta Federal Reserve Bank, University of Chicago, and Stanford, executive actually expecting hybrid working and remote working to keep on growing. Why? Because it actually works. Works in what sense? In a sense that during the apply whenever a company applying the system of remote work or even a hybrid working, the satisfaction of work is actually increasing. When they are satisfied, they're actually improving and increasing the amount of working effectiveness, meaning faster way of working because they felt like they really enjoyed the working environment. So that is why they felt so satisfied, and the effectiveness is actually stayed the same compared to when they still doing a full-time going to the office work the traditional way. But when they do the remote work, it stayed the same, or even there's a slightest improvement of effectiveness of it. How? It is all just because the employees loves it. Their satisfaction is one of the biggest major thing that makes this works. Unbelievable. And also, if we're trying to convert it into a profit, their working efficiency is actually like an 8% of their pay increase in terms of satisfaction. So it's clear that remote work will stay here with us. But it's not fair if I only gonna say only one point to to prove my insights. So that's why I'm gonna go with the second insights. The second point is hybrid model. As I already mentioned previously, I mentioned about the hybrid model. So what is exactly the hybrid model? A hybrid model is a model that occurs for people who works in an office in a company that in a week they only had to go to an office, let's say for only for important meetings so that they could meet face to face, but the rest of the week they just need to work from home. They just only need to face with people when they're discussing and also talking about a very important matters. But the rest of the work during their work hours, they actually did it at home. They do it remotely, which means flexibly. This model gives you actually both worlds, so you can save time on commutes and avoid office distraction, which means it is a very, very safe for the environment because less commute meaning less energy being used, which means Earth is secure. Isn't that right? I mean, we need to bring up nature for this one, shall we? Let's just admit it, traffic and also pollution. There's a lot of stuff that make things a lot more worse in the world right now, and one of them is actually too many people working all at once. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go work because some people already had a family so they have to feed and provide, but we can't really have a solution for a city, for a country that has too many people that are working all at the same time, which means during the earliest day in the very morning there's gonna be traffic all over again, pollution, too many energies being used, and boy, it is so frustrating, and that is why it leads to satisfaction because during traffic no people is gonna be satisfied at all. Even if we already get to the office after we went through the traffic, we will still be in a very bad mood, which mean lesser satisfaction results. So that is why using this model would help with both, which means starting from the satisfaction, and also the second one is to save the earth with less commute and energy is being used. Now let's get into the third and last insights from me about this topic. Embrace flexibility in order to key of success. It's weird, as I already mentioned things like flexibility, working from home, satisfaction, but what does that each other correlates? Now, what does it even mean? It means that I assume that it is a key of succession of a successful company. People nowadays trying to find a way so that they could balance 50-50 between their life and also their work life, so that they will have a really really balanced life so that they don't stress too much. So if a company can provide that feature, they will can provide that kind of flexibility for workers, their company will thrive, and I can assure that because I already mentioned about satisfaction before, and satisfactions could or even already proven equals a very very productive day of working, because it has to do with the satisfaction of your worker. If they're happy, they will do the job happily, they will do the job seriously, and they even gonna be a lot more productive from that. According to Upward Future Workforce Report, the expected growth rate for a full-time remote worker over the 5 years had already doubled, from 30% to 65%. It's not just about where you work, but how. If a company can embracing this change, businesses can attract top talents and keep their names and teams happy and very productive, which means a very successful workplace. Isn't that right, folks? Because all of this actually relates. Flexibility, work-life balance, satisfaction, productivity, and succession. It is there. All of this is actually connected. So amongst those three insights that I already explained to you about the future of remote work that I already said before that will be here for the longest time, what do you think? What do you think about my take? Because whenever I think about work, all I can ever think of is the stressed environment. Something that could make the workers very stressed. Too much, so much that they don't even work productively. They are being given a simple task, but because of the environment is not very comfortable for them to work happily, they couldn't even finish the simple task by the end of the day, and they just get home grumpy and tired without even being happy. Even if the pay grade is good, what does that even mean that it is worth our own sanity? I don't really think so. So to conclude my video is that other than satisfaction, all I can say is that we have to be fair. You know what I mean? People nowadays just think everything as work, 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 especially for a workaholic husband. They couldn't even have the time to go to a holiday or even spend time with their families. But at the same time, at that time, their children need a father's figure. They need their parents to to supervise them, to spend time with them because they need guidance. They want to spend time with you because eventually when they get older, they don't have the same hunger to be to spend more time with you, and that is why when you still have the opportunities and chances, you need to be with them. But because of the situation of people that actually working right now, they working from 9 to 5, 7 to whatever hours that are normal outside of the world, but in here it's usually 7 to 5, not 9 to 5 but 7 to 5. um it's very stressful because they just came back home grumpy, sad, tired, and just laying in the bed straight away and not even had the chance to touch the dinner or even let alone spend time with their family. So that is why with remote work and also especially the hybrid model that I mentioned earlier, it could give some kind of a solution with for that because it came from many experiences including myself, but now it is my time to actually somehow to find a solution for people. So the future work is very flexible and it is up to us to adapt. Thanks for watching and I hope it gives you something to think about. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Arizal Akbar and see you in the next video.